I did a review on the Smith Wesson M&P Bodyguard 380 and why it wasn't, in my opinion, a great weapon for a first-time shooter. Now, I did another video that showed an upgrade to both the grip and the extension on the magazine that made the ergonomics of this weapon a whole lot better and made it a lot easier to shoot. However, today we're going to fix the one last holdout that's still a weakness on this weapon, and that's the sights. And that's what's coming up. Hey folks, welcome to 9mm Tuesday on Get on Target with Link. This is the day that we get into the more nitty-gritty of shooting and equipment and so forth. And today we're going to be talking about the Bodyguard, the M&P Bodyguard 380, and replacing the sights. This was a weakness that I pointed out of the weapon when I did my review on it, and why I didn't really particularly recommend it for a first-time shooter, along with the ergonomics of the gun. Very difficult to hang on to. So we took care of the ergonomics with upgrading the grip and extending the magazine so I could get a better grip on the weapon. Now we're going to take care of the sights. Now, full disclosure, I've never done this before. So this is the first time that I've used a sight pusher to replace sights on a weapon. So the frustrations and difficulties that I wind up having here, this is probably what you can expect when you do this project yourself for the first time. Now, the sights that we're going to be using are an inexpensive set of fiber optic sights. They're called the Fire Sight set from the Williams Gun Sight Company. And there'll be a link in the description down below. So if you like the result of this update, you can do it yourself and get yourself a set of these fire sights. The pusher that I'm going to be using looks like this. It's called the Universal gun sight pusher, which I'm sure is not true. I'm looking up the name. It's a Washington-based company. I'm looking up the name for you right now. Sorry about that. But it's from Washington Gun Works. And this is the sight pusher. Again, there'll be a link down below, so if you want to get a hold of one of these, you can. This I got on Amazon for 39 bucks. So this is the least expensive sight pusher you can possibly buy. I researched it quite a bit and don't think I'll be doing this a whole lot, and I didn't want to put a whole lot of money into it, so voila, the Universal sight pusher. So we'll have a link to that down below. So we're about to get ourselves into some trouble here, and come along for the ride. You'll see what the first time using this stuff is like, and we're going to get into it right now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, as always, is make sure we have a safe weapon. Getting rid of the magazine. Make sure we got an empty weapon. We do. Now, on this, all we're going to need is the slide. So the first thing we need to do is remove the old sights. And that's where our sight pusher is going to come in handy. So the way these work is we're going to put the slide in this opening here and clamp it down. When we do, we're going to be using this and screwing it down to remove. You can see how it moves across. That's going to be forcefully pushing the sight out of its dovetail on the top of the slide. So that's the process of how these work. Now let's see how we can make it work. But we want to protect the slide. And what I've done is taken a regular business card, and I'm going to put that side up right against the top of the slide, but below the sight, and wrap it around. And I'm going to take off most of it and just leave a little bit of it hanging up there. So now it's wrapped around the slide, just like that. That's going to protect it as we clamp it down inside what's really a vise. Now as we put it down in here, we're going to want to put it, you'll see that lip right there. That's going to be where the slide sits on, and we're going to want to make sure it's on there level. And then we're going to twist this down and lock it in place. We want the sight to be in line with that pusher and lock it down. So now it's all one piece. Okay? Now, this has a nut on this side and the bolt is on this side. And when you're turning this, you always want to turn it from the bolt side so you're not loosening that nut. Now, as I see how this is lined up, it's not quite lined up with the sight correctly, so I'm going to loosen the slide again, move it back so it's in better alignment, and then clamp it back down. And now the pusher is in line with the sight itself. See if you can see how that's all lined up. Can you see that? So, this is not going to go gently into that good night. So you're going to need, ideally, get a wrench of the appropriate size. We have an adjustable here. But we're going to start clamping it down. And start to move the sight off of the slide. Nope. What happened was I did not have the alignment done correctly, and the pusher went right past the sight and missed it. So we're going to back it up. It did start to move it. I had it. There's another adjustment here, and this is going to allow you to move the slide up and down. We're going to move it up a bit, so there's going to be better contact between the pusher and the sight. There we go. I'm going to move it back just a little bit too. That should be just about perfect. We want to move this up again a little bit more. This is telling me that I needed to take more time in this alignment process before I got going. I jumped into this a little too quickly, folks. This alignment is critical. When you do this, folks, if you have a vise to put this in, please do it. It's going to make this job a lot easier. Okay, folks, we're back, and I'm going to show you the very end of this. The sight's almost off now. But what happened was, if you can see at the very bottom here, here, there's a gap between my slide and that lip that's right there. There's a metal plate that goes in there to fill that gap so that the small slides like this one will be high enough for the sight to slide out and not go right into the other side of the sight pusher and prevent it from coming off. Well, I have misplaced that piece. So what I've done is I've clamped the slide in there well enough that it's up above that. Get my hand out of the way so you can see that gap. You can see the gap between the slide and the pusher there. So it's working. This is a wrestling match, but once it gets started, it's really not very hard. And we're in the final throws, the last few twists of this to get the sight to pop off, and it'll be off in just a minute. And I just felt it just let go finally, and it's kind of loose now. Yeah, and there goes the sight. So the first sight is off. Okay? Now we're going to do the exact same thing again to the front sight. I think you've probably, now there's a little plate here. My thumb's holding it in place, and beneath that plate is a spring, and you want to make sure you do not lose that spring and that plate. They're what's going to provide some of the tension on the new sight, putting that in. I think because of that, actually, what we're going to do is put the new sight in first on the rear. Now, that's going to involve some fitting of the sight, and you'll see that it may need to be filed down some, and we're gonna find that out right now. I'm going to take this one out of the packaging, and we're going to just hand fit it on the back here and see how it fits into that dovetail. What you want to have happen is half of the dovetail go into, half of the sight go into the dovetail without any kind of filing. This actually is pretty good out of the box. This seems pretty good. I'm gonna flip it around here. We want to have the flat side of the sight toward the front of the gun. That's going to allow us to do a charging of the slide on our belt if it's deemed necessary. That seems actually, it maybe needs a little bit of filing, maybe a bit. We're going to be taking a file, and with the sight, what you want to do to file down the sight, let me take it out by hook or crook, there we go. But when you're filing down the bottom of the sight, you want to do it just completely flat. You're just taking off a little bit of the sight at a time. You don't want to take off too much, or it's going to be too loose in that dovetail, and then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have to buy a new one because it just won't fit anymore. There's the back sights. Use my calipers, they seem pretty centered. Now we go to work on the front. See the rears in the back there. So the sight picture would be something like that. Not too bad. We're going to have to sight it in, and there might be some adjustment to do. But that is the new set of sights. So that's what the new weapon looks like. We've fixed the grip. We extended the grip. And now we can see through it. That was an adventure, but got it done. Just the laser on this is actually very useful when you go to zero this out, and it looks like it's pretty spot on. We'll see if they stay in place after my handiwork on this, but wasn't too hard. I don't think you're gonna. I don't know that the video is going to be very useful in helping you to put these on, but it was mostly just alignment and muscling them off and muscling them back on. And don't lose that plate on the backs that's underneath the back sight and the spring that's under the plate. It's really important. It helps to keep this in place, and then you can lock it down with an Allen key. I think it's 7/16, but don't quote me on that. On the top of that. But all in all, oh my gosh, the sight picture is so much better. It was useless before to me. My eyes, I just couldn't see it. And now, very easy to see. It jumps off of this, especially under these lights, but of course that's cheating. But fiber optics, I like fiber optics a lot. I'm not much of a night person, so night sights are not that important to me. Great upgrade. The sights are inexpensive. The tool was inexpensive and absolutely necessary. Well, that's not true. Some of the old hands, they whack the sights off with a punch and a hammer, a gunsmithing hammer. So, and that, I'm sure that is perfectly reasonable. This tool makes life a lot easier. I think that's a great investment. I'll undoubtedly be changing other sights over the course of my lifetime, and that's going to come in handy. So check out the description below. The description for the sights are down there, and the link to it, and same for the sight pusher. And get yourself some. I think it's a great upgrade. So that's this week on 9mm Tuesday. Hope we see you again soon. Keep those cards and letters coming in. Appreciate it. And like the video, subscribe to the channel. When the bell comes up, ring it. We'll let you know when more is coming out. So till the next time we get together here on Get on Target with Link, see ya.